This video is kindly brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform to create a beautiful online presence. Hi, my name's Janelle and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make one of my all-time favorite skirts. I bought this skirt from a vintage shop in Kyoto and I just love the style of it so much. It's so different to any skirt I've ever seen or owned before. It's the perfect midi length and it has a lovely and super comfortable gathered waistband. And I just felt it was high time I made another skirt like this one for my wardrobe. So let's get into it and let me show you how to make this beautiful midi length gathered skirt. Let's start by taking a closer look at the skirt I'll be replicating in this video. On closer inspection, I can see that this skirt is made up of three main pieces: the waistband, the main skirt, and the lining. The waistband itself is made up of three casings or channels of elastic, which actually feels really comfortable when wearing and is also a better option than having just one wider piece of elastic, as the wider elastic is more likely to twist inside the waistband. The waistband is then attached to the skirt and lining pieces, which appear to be pre-gathered separately before being attached to the waistband. The lining is completely separate to the main skirt fabric and appears to only connect to the skirt at the waistband. And lastly, this skirt doesn't have pockets, but I do plan on adding some to the side seams. The fabric I'll be making my skirt out of is this stunning gingham linen fabric that was kindly sent to me by A&R Fabrics. I'll have a link to it down below if you'd like to pick up any for yourself. And I'll also be using this simple white cotton fabric that I salvaged from a bedsheet for the lining of the skirt. First things first, I start by measuring the length and the width of the main skirt pieces and the waistband. For the main skirt piece, I measured a rectangle that is approximately 170 by 85 centimeters or 106 by 33.5 inches. But as my fabric isn't that wide and I want to add some pockets to the side seams of the skirt, I'll cut out two rectangles that are 135 by 85 centimeters or 53 by 33.5 inches instead. The lining doesn't have to be as fully gathered or long as the main skirt, so for that I'll cut out two 100 by 75 centimeter or 39.5 by 29.5 inch rectangles. And lastly, for the waistband, I measured and cut out one rectangle that is approximately 110 by 14 centimeters or 43.5 by 5.5 inches. To figure out what measurements are needed for your size, follow this formula. The measurements I've provided here will create quite a full gathered skirt, so feel free to adjust them to suit the style of skirt you prefer. So once you've got all of those measurements figured out, it's time to cut out all of the skirt rectangles in the fabric of your choice. Like I said, I'm using this beautiful gingham linen fabric, but most woven fabrics like cotton and linen will work perfectly, or even something flowy like a rayon fabric will work nicely for this project too. Because my fabric is gingham, I could easily cut along the lines, but I recommend using a water erasable pen or some tailor's chalk and a measuring tape to mark out your rectangles before you cut. Once the rectangles are cut, cut out 4 pocket pieces. I'll have a link to my pocket template in the description of this video for you to be able to use. Then lastly, cut out your lining rectangles. And you should now have the following pieces. Start by overlocking or zigzag stitching the curved edge of your 4 pocket pieces. This will prevent the raw edges from fraying. Then with right sides together, place the pocket pieces along each side edge of the main skirt rectangles, placing them approximately 10 centimeters or 4 inches from the top edge of the skirt. Then stitch them in place and then overlock or zigzag stitch the raw edges. pockets out flat with an iron. And then with right sides together, place the skirt front onto the skirt back. They are both exactly the same, so take your pick which is the front and which is the back, matching up the sides and the pockets together and pin in place. Stitch along both side edges, making sure to go around the pocket like this. And the main part of the skirt is complete. Let's take a moment to talk about the sponsor of this video, Squarespace. I'm so excited to be working with Squarespace as I've personally been using the platform for the last 5 years to run the Rosery Apparel website and online store. They have so many beautiful templates to choose from. Whether you want to create a website, an online store, or a portfolio, they'll have the perfect template for you. Each template is completely customizable, so you can change anything from the color and the fonts to the complete layout of the website with just a few clicks, no coding required. Something I really love about Squarespace is the fact that they have 24-hour award-winning customer service. In the 5 years I've been using Squarespace, I've only ever had to contact customer support maybe once or twice, as they really do make creating a website so easy and everything runs so smoothly. But when I did need to contact them, they were there for me right away and they answered my questions really quickly so that I could get back to running my business. So if you'd like to create a beautiful website of your own, then head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and then when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/roseryapparel for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you so much, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video. Now let's make up the lining. Similar to the main fabric, place the back lining onto the front lining. Again, take your pick which is which, and pin and stitch them together at the side seams. This time it will be just straight stitching as there are no pockets to sew around. Then once stitched, overlock or zigzag stitch the raw edge. Press the seams flat with an iron, and then hem one of the lining edges by folding and pressing in about 1 centimeter or ½ inch twice. Then stitch the hem in place. Next, change the stitch length of your sewing machine to the longest possible setting and sew 2 rows of gathering stitches along the top edge of the main skirt piece. Then repeat for the lining piece as well. Gather up both the skirt and the lining pieces by gently pulling on the top 2 threads and pushing the fabric along until they are approximately the same size as the folded waistband rectangle. Place the lining inside the main skirt with the right side of the lining facing the wrong side of the main skirt. And the lining should fit nicely inside like this. Then, matching the side seams, pin the lining to the main skirt. stitch the 2 layers of the skirt together with a basting stitch. And because the linen was fraying slightly, I decided to overlock the raw edge to keep it neat and easy to work with, but this is completely optional. Now that the layers are all stitched together, press the gathers with an iron. And you should now have something that looks a bit like this. Next, let's make the waistband. With right sides together, fold the waistband rectangle in half and then stitch together along the shorter raw edge. Press the seam open and then press one of the longer raw edges in by about 1 centimeter or half an inch. I've been using about 1 centimeter or half an inch seam allowance for this whole project, by the way. Then with right sides together, pin the non-folded raw edge of the waistband to the skirt. And stitch it in place, being careful not to catch any fabric underneath. Next, press the waistband seam and then fold the waistband in half lengthways, making sure the pressed folded edge covers the other line of stitching we just made, and pin it in place. And then stitch in place, enclosing all of the raw edges of the skirt inside the waistband and making sure to leave a small opening to thread some elastic through in a minute. Now to make the 3 casings for the elastic on the waistband. Using a water erasable pen or some tailor's chalk, mark out where the 3 casings should go using the width of the elastic as a guide. Then stitch along the entire waistband at each marking, remembering to leave a small opening to be able to thread the elastic through. I've made a waistband like this before where I threaded the elastic as I stitched instead, and as a lot of you commented, it's actually easier to stitch all 3 casings first and then thread the elastic through at the end. Next, take the elastic and wrap it around your waist until it fits comfortably but not too tight, and then cut 3 pieces at that point. Then, using a safety pin, thread the elastic into the casings, starting at the top casing and working your way down. Once you've thread the elastic through, stitch the 2 ends together with a zigzag stitch and then pull it securely into the casing. Then repeat this for the other 2 pieces of elastic. Once all of your elastic is threaded through, stitch the opening of each casing closed. And your waistband is complete. Now all that's left to do is hem the bottom edge of the skirt by again folding and pressing in the raw edge by about 1 centimeter or half an inch twice. And then lastly, remove any exposed gathering and basting stitches from the top edge of the skirt with a seam ripper. And your amazing gathered midi skirt is complete. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you have a go at making this skirt for yourself, then I would love to see it. So be sure to tag me at Rosery Apparel when you share your photos on Instagram, and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this one. Have a lovely day, and thanks for watching.